What's up, YouTube? It's the Console Samurai with Grown Ups Gaming. And I saw some interesting news yesterday about a movie that many people had probably forgotten existed or was even talked about, and many other people, like me, had probably written it off saying, we're never going to get it. It's never going to come out. It was interesting, but we haven't heard about it in so long. They're not going to do it. Well, yesterday, the director of Mad Max, Fury Road, came out and said that he had actually turned down, he had turned down the role of director for the live-action adaptation of Akira. I find that very interesting because Akira, we first started hearing about this the end of the 90s. And they were talking about maybe coming out with a live-action adaptation of Akira around the new millennium. Well, the new millennium was 15 years ago. And hopefully we won't have to wait till the next millennium. But Akira was actually one of the first anime that I'd ever seen, movie or TV show. It was way back in the late 80s when anime wasn't even known as anime. It was just known as Japanime because it was just starting to come here. It was just starting to gain ground in the United States, which is a long time ago. It was before Dragon Ball Z ever really hit it big here. It was before, well, actually it was before most anime had ever really hit it big here. It was one of the first ones. You know, back when Ghost in the Shell and Akira were the two that you could watch on Sci-Fi on Saturday mornings. I think it was Saturday morning. But Akira is a really good story, and I really was excited way back in the day when they first started talking about this to see it given the live-action treatment, especially assuming it was going to be done right. And I think that it could be a very good movie because, unlike a lot of other anime movies, it wouldn't be as special effects heavy as other ones would be. Like Dragon Ball Z would be very special effects heavy. Dragon Ball Evolution aside, they could do it if they wanted to. But Akira would be a very simple one. There's very little effects during most of the movie, and I'm not gonna give away any spoilers because if you haven't seen Akira, you should check it out. It actually is a really good movie. But until the very end, right near the end, there's not that much in special effects. It would be very easy for them to do. And I think part of the reason why we actually maybe are hearing about it now is with the announcement of Tokyo being the home of the 2020 Olympics. That kind of falls into the timeline of Akira. So that could easily be factored into it. But to be honest, even though I do think it really would be adapted, it could be adapted very well if given the right studio, given the right crew, so on and so forth. I do think to an extent it is doomed to fail because it is a very dated anime. I like Akira. It is a very good anime, but it is dated. It does still have some very 70s feel to it, which would have to be updated. Which, if you update a classic anime like this, because it is a classic. It may not be the most popular anymore, but it is still a classic. And if you update a classic, you do run the risk of upsetting people. And if you were to, Americanize it and make it a little less, it is very, very out there. And if you were to make it a little bit more mainstream, you could ruin what makes it so good. And if they were to keep it as out there as it is, it may not really make it in theaters. So it may be doomed from the start, but I do still think that it could be a really good live adaptation. And I think there are others that would make really good live adaptations. Rurouni Kenshin would be amazing. There would be virtually no special effects in it. And I really do actually like that anime quite a bit. Wolf's Rain would be a little more difficult, but still doable. And so on and so forth. Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, those work well too. But what do you think? What do you think about Akira getting a live-action adaptation, possibly, in the future? Do you think that it's a terrible idea? Do you think it's a great idea, but you'd rather see another anime? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Once again, I am the Console Samurai, and I'll see you around.